Today we are going on a solo bike ride, but not just any bike ride. This is going to be something a little bit different. First thing we need is the bike, a tape measure, and some dimensions of this bike. $77.5. I'm also going to need a 5mm Allen. Is that any good? All right. You might be wondering, what are you doing and why are you taking the saddle off of this bike? Okay, now that that's off, we're also going to need to remove the pedals. One. Okay, now that we've done that, we need to get the bike that we are going to be riding today. Okay, and we got to get the measurement off of here so we can put this back exactly the way we found it. Or Miss Schools might be a little upset. Her saddle is 71. But we're going to go ahead. Got 71. We're still going to mark it. It's always good to just mark it. It's not going to hurt. So, how close do you think it is? Okay, so how many of you think that my mark is going to be the same on her bike as it is on mine? Go ahead and write that down. And now compare your answer to this. Ooh, 76. We gotta go up. It was 77.5. All right, that is 77.5. Maybe we'll go down just a tiny bit. So there's my mark on my frame, and there's hers. So you can see I'm about an inch. Her frame's about an inch shorter than mine. So actually not much. And the final pedal. I think we're all set. Just switch out these water bottles. I don't think Miss Cools wants me to use hers. And we'll put this saddlebag on. And the nice thing is now, Miss Cools and I both have the same sized wheels. So my tubes will work on her tires. So that's a nice benefit of having a kind of uniform set of bikes around here. Let's go roll out. So the route we're doing today is 30 miles and a little over 3,000 feet of climbing. And the purpose of this ride is so that I can get a chance to actually ride this on a course that's more than just a quick spin around in the parking lot, but to go out on a course that I've ridden many times. And it's long enough to really get a feel for the bike. It's also There's a little bit of everything. There's some climbing, descending, some flat roads. So it'll be a good chance to really feel this bike out. Also, what I want to do is see if it will shimmy like my other bike. I rode this same exact route about 2 weeks ago, and I filmed myself going down a steep section of road, and I was able to get my bike to shimmy. So we're gonna do the same thing again with this bike today. That's why I'm wearing this helmet. I have a camera mount here. I don't normally wear this helmet because this camera mount does present some potential safety issues, so I'm only wearing it today for this ride. So far so good. I can talk a little bit about this bike in a little bit. So I'm just gonna get warmed up here, get some of this climbing out of the way, and I'll see you closer to the top. All right, well, I'm just about to finish up the climb, and this climb is about 2,700 feet of vertical total for the whole climb, and it's broken up into a few sections. I mean, there's a little bit of downhill in the middle, then there's a couple rollers, and then there's this final climb that I'm on. And wow, what I can say is this bike feels really good. You do notice the extra stiffness in the top tube, and that actually comes in nicely with climbing out of the saddle. You know, the bike doesn't feel real flexy. It still feels flexible, but doesn't have that kind of whippy feel that I notice when I'm climbing my bike out of the saddle. This feels a little bit more like kind of like my road bike does. Has that sort of like, it kind of has that, you know, stiff frame feel that you would find on a road bike. But the difference is that the rear of this bike, it has longer chain stays. So it actually has a very stable feel as well. So it's really nice. I gotta say, I don't think I would go any stiffer than this for myself. And I know Miss Cools weighs less than I do, so she certainly wouldn't want to go stiffer than this. But it's, you know, I was a little nervous at first when we were going to go down this route, the oversized top tube, and I think now that I'm riding it, I think it was a good choice actually. So I wonder what it would feel like with an oversized down tube also, but I feel like that would, judging from what I can feel here, I just think that'd be overkill for her. It might be okay for me, but you know, it'd have to be a really thin tube so that it didn't end up just creating a really, really overly stiff bike. So anyway, the next step is we've got some rollers up here. We've got a nice long descent to test out the handling as well as the brakes on this custom steel bike. It has the Paul Mini Moto brakes on it, and so far they do work really well. They do grip a little. They feel a little bit more grippy than my center pole brakes. A little bit more sensitive brake lever feel to them. But I think that's something Miss Cools likes. She's coming from a disc brake bike, so being able to have those, you know, quick braking probably feels really good. All right, well, I'm almost to the top, and I'm gonna hit this downhill. So here we go. Okay, here we are again, back at the same spot as we were last time at the top of this hill, and we are gonna go down. We're gonna start this descent, and just like last time, we're gonna get down to the spot where it's not as steep, and I can let go of the handlebars, and we can just see if this bike will shimmy. All right, well, this is basically the summit of the climb, and we're gonna be heading down this road. It's really steep right here, so I'm gonna wait till I get down a little ways. And so what we're gonna do is once we get to a spot where I'm going fast, but not so fast that I can't let off the brakes, I'm gonna let go of the bars and show you a little bit of shimmy. Okay, so you can see, the faster you're going, the more it's going to do it. So let me speed up again, and we'll do this again so you can see. You got to get going a little bit faster. And the more weight that's on the front, the more it'll do it. So let's see. There you go. Now I want to show you how to stop it when it happens. Just touch it with your knee. So here we go, let it start again. Just tap it with your knee. So you start shimmying, woo, just touch your knee onto the frame. Now I've already been on a few descents and I kind of have a feeling of what might happen, but I'm not going to spoil it yet. I'm going to let you guys see it first. Now so far in this video we've only talked about the frame itself. I'm trying to focus my attention on that and just compare the differences between this frame and my frame. There are some other differences with this bike and we will talk a little bit about that. So anyway, without me talking more, which I'd be happy to do, I'm gonna head on down and let's see if this bike will shimmy. All right, here we go. Let's get this thing up to speed. No shimmy. No shimmy. Let's see if we go a little faster here. No shimmy. No shimmy. Let's see if we go a little faster here. The other thing that's different about this bike I forgot to mention is the 4428 front crankset. And I've been wondering how this will ride on a flat road with having just a 44. So this is a 4428 with 1132 on the back. And climbing wise it's great, but let's see how it does on this flat section of road. Jockey wheels. Gotta fix that up for Miss Schools.
Got it for you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm generally pretty impressed with Miss Cool's custom bike. I do like the way it handles. I'd be really interested in trying another bike like this with an oversized down tube to be able to compare all three of those different sizes. So it'd be if you recall from the video I made where I analyzed a couple different tube sets. I think it was 3 tube sets or 4. We looked at standard, oversize on the top tube, and then oversize down tube with a standard top tube, and then we looked at oversize. And that one was pretty stiff. That might be too stiff. One thing I have noticed with the top tube being stiffer, it actually gives you the sensation, at least, that the bottom bracket is a little bit stiffer as well. And this is slightly thinner tubing than what's on my bike. So that tells me that the top tube stiffness has a lot to do with the general ride quality of the bike, including the lateral stiffness and how it feels climbing. It's good climbing. The seated climbing feels different than my bike. My bike has that kind of nice little swing to it when you're climbing, whereas this feels more like it's tracking more. It's like feels like it's just kind of staying straight. It's not really giving you that kind of swinging feel, which might be a good thing. So, you know, I've ridden my road bike a lot, my titanium road bike, and I kind of compare a lot of bikes to that. And my titanium bike feels about the same way as kind of like this does, actually. This is very similar to my titanium road bike as far as how it rides and how it feels. Feels very light. You notice the lighter weight. The 44 chainring on the front did not spin out. I was expecting to spin out on the flats, or at least on the downhill, and I really didn't have any trouble with it. And it's interesting because I've gone from a 52 down to a 50 on my road bike. I started off with a 52, and then I went to a compact, and then I went to the triple on my touring bike, which was a 48, and then my bike, my new custom bike, has a 46, and now I'm riding Miss Cool's bike here with a 44, and really it's not much of a disadvantage. If anything, it's really nice to have a little bit lower gearing, or higher gearing, I guess you'd say. So generally I'm impressed. I really like it. It's handling really well. I would almost like to have an oversized top tube now that I'm riding this, but I'm gonna have to go back and ride my bike again and kind of be able to see the difference. But yeah, I kind of like the oversized top tube. So anyway, that's my review. I want to say thanks to John Fitzgerald, who built this bike. Did another superb job on this one, and I think Miss Cools is gonna get a lot of really good miles out of it.